Rhode Island Senator Sheldon Whitehouse questioned Director Wray during today's hearing, and he joins me now. Senator, what you learned today?
Well, we learned that the Antifa little lie that surrounds the big lie and the fake Trump protesters' little lie that surrounds the big lie were complete bunk and just manufactured propaganda. And we learned, I think, that the FBI continues to take this, seriously as a potential upstream investigation. He was less clear than Merrick Garland about that they would follow the evidence wherever it leads, and particularly towards people who are not in the Capitol at the time. So we'll see where that goes. My concern at the beginning was that this was going to be an investigation that got dumped on the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, and that the method was going to be to just prosecute a lot of people from the raid itself, but not do the proper upstream investigation to see who was behind it. And I think we've headed that off with Attorney General Garland. And that's an important question, I think, to make sure that gets done.
What is your impression of Wray? Do you trust him? You think he's a straight shooter?
If so, that would be a new phenomenon, because I've spent 3 years trying to get him to answer questions, and he's hidden behind every conceivable dodge. And we have unanswered questions from 2017. The FBI came in for 9 hearings in the Trump era, and in 7 of those hearings, we got exactly 0 of our questions for the record answered. And when I say our, I mean Democrats and Republicans alike. So he participated in or ran a massive traffic jam that stopped answers to huge numbers of QFRs, almost all of our questions for the record, and to all of our letters. And then at the same time, he set up this side road where they could run thousands, 1,500 documents in 18 different document productions into the Republicans on the committee so they could do their Crossfire Hurricane investigation. So I still want an explanation of why our request for documents and answers got jammed into the traffic jam, and Republican Trump-friendly questions and requests for production got given this special side road around the traffic jam at high speed and with considerable, it seems, considerable waiver of ordinary protective privileges and protections about investigative materials, classified materials, and so forth.
Do you have, were there specific inquiries? I know you had a back and forth with the director today about this. There are specific inquiries that you still feel like you're being stonewalled? And what does that say about your confidence in him to run this very, 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 what will be in many ways a very politically sensitive investigation?
Yeah, I think the first thing we need answers to is why were we stonewalled for all those years? What was the method? On whose instruction was that done? What was the scheme? What was the plan? Who was involved? Why did it happen? All of that. But that's kind of a processy question. The more important stuff is to look back through, say, the FBI investigation of Brett Kavanaugh and whether that was real or fake, and what happened with that so-called tip line that the FBI ran. Because as best as I can tell, these are some of the questions they've refused to answer. As best as I can tell, all the information that came floating in through that tip line got dumped straight into the bin. None of it got reviewed pursuant to standard FBI procedures and protocols for reviewing the info that comes in through a tip line. It was more of a tip dump than a tip line. And understanding if that happened, why that happened, who was involved, on whose direction, presumably from the White House. If this guy presided over a fake FBI investigation, we need to know that.
Final question for you is about your, if Merrick Garland should be confirmed, which looks like he will likely be, your confidence in the entirety of the Justice Department dealing with an investigation that is massive in scope. 270 arrests already, 300. There's probably hundreds more suspects yet to be identified.
Yes, and we still have unanswered questions about that. As I said, the original plan was to dump it on the D.C. U.S. Attorney's Office. And because the U.S. Attorney's Office in D.C. is also the local prosecutor, it's a well-staffed, big, competent, trial-ready organization. But this would be a lot of cases. And they're not used to doing the kind of cases at that level where you're working your way up to the kingpins and the funders and the organizers in the same way that they're doing a lot of street crime in the district. So TBD, I guess, is the best way to say it.
All right, Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, I'm going to put you down as not yet convinced on Director Wray. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time tonight, sir.